the moment like the one that we are living, very fertile in opportunities for those who can seize them, right? The second thing, of course, is to make good encounters, to meet the right people at the right time on the right territory. We all know that, and this is networking. And once you have these three talents, work, hard work, and luck, that you know how to develop and to work on, then we will move on to the networking. The best way to reach your objective is to help others reach their objective. It might sound a bit counterintuitive because I want to network to improve my business. So how does that work? Well, when you meet people, try to be the connector, try to be the person in between two other people with the objective of helping these people. So if you can think of somebody that somebody you've just met now might be interested to meet, why don't you just do the introduction? And if you do that consistently over time, you will create what we call the positive word of mouth with people. And word of mouth is the single biggest booster to your business. And of course, word of mouth cannot be bought. The art of networking, it takes time. It's a slow build. It is exactly the opposite of a hard selling session, of an aggressive hard sell session. Networking, in my view, is exactly the opposite of that, right? So let's open the debate now about the role of virtual, what we've enjoyed just now, and see how it goes. The first one is something that has been said by somebody who lived a long, long time ago, who said many clever things, is Aristotle, Greek philosopher, who said that about 2,500 years ago. He said many clever things, but this one, I think, is really relevant today in our context. Humans are social animals. The full quote, I've put it there for your reading pleasure under. I'm not going to read it out for you. And the really full quote is even longer. But it is very clear. What he says is that if humans are not social animals, they are not humans. Basically what he says, right? And in the quote, there is the word animal. So has anybody ever tried to talk to your dog on iPhone? Now that our families are separated because of COVID, it's certainly my case, we used to talk to our wife or husband on iPhone. And we have wonderful softwares that gives you a virtual representation of your wife at the other hand, and you have been taught that, yes, this is really my wife at the other hand. But then when the dog passes by my wife and my wife wants to engage me with the dog, nothing works. The dog looks like this piece of equipment, try to smell it, and nothing happens. What the dog wants is to recognize the noise of my car approaching the house, wants to hear the noise of the key into the lock, want to hear my friend, and then something happens. My dog will smell around and he will feel if I had a good day or a bad day. He will feel if I'm in a good mood or bad mood. And then the greeting ceremonial can start. And depending on what the dog would have found out. So he's using much more than one or two senses to organize this. And definitely, if the dog does not reply to my calls on iPhone, it doesn't mean he does not love me anymore. But for him, it means this is not what I'm looking for in terms of engagement. Right. So the another aspect is about the low cost of entry into these virtual events. And for those of us who have done a bit of marketing in the past, you will know that most of the free things are not valued. People do not value free things in general, and we are one click away of leaving. Now, if you try to put a cost on a good networking event, that means the amount of money that you're ready to pay. If you look at the calendar of networking events in Myanmar, I believe that the most successful, the biggest, is Euromoney in September in Naypyidaw. This is the end of the monsoon. This is not even the beginning of the new fiscal year. Everybody's back from holiday. There are about 1,000 people there. And it's a wonderful atmosphere, and everybody really enjoys meeting each other. Irrespective of who is the keynote speaker, irrespective of what is the topic, you go to Naypyidaw to meet people, to network, right? But that has a cost. First of all, you have to get to Naypyidaw. If you live in Yangon, but if you fly there, if you're lucky enough to find a flight, it's going to be a few $100s. And then you have to sleep in Naypyidaw, and then you have your opportunity cost. How much is 1 day of your work? And then you have to engage 2 days. So you're talking about something like maybe short of $1,000 investment from your side to attend this 2 days event in Naypyidaw. And when you look at the number of people going there, it seems that there's no shortage of people willing to invest that amount of money. But now let's try to imagine that when you go back to your office after this session, you receive an email from Euromoney saying that this year we are doing the event, but we are doing virtually. You will have live broadcast of every speech, and you will even have a copy of every presentation. And on top of that, we will random match you with 5 participants. And the cost is half of what you would pay for a real one, so it's only $500. How many people would sign in for that? I would not, honestly, right? Something is missing, something is missing. To make things work in the virtual world is to keep, the secret is to keep engagement high. And it's very, very difficult to do that. We are in training with Dale Carnegie in communication and leadership training. So when we have 25 people in a room, we can keep them 8 hours engaged. We can bring them through a roller coaster of emotions, and that's what they learn. And all certified trainers do that. When we finally, not by pleasure, but by necessity, had to pivot online, first of all, we had to recertify everybody, rewrite the training program, etc. It was an enormous amount of work. The key obsession was how can we keep the people at on the other side of the screen engaged. So one way that we found is, and first of all, we don't take too many participants, about 15 instead of 25 in the physical room. And we need to have everybody busy every 2 minutes. Every 2 minutes, everybody has to do something, right? It's a bit of, it's hard work for the trainer. It is difficult, but unless you find tricks to keep the engagement high, it's very difficult to avoid what we call the Yuan Festival on the other end of the screen, that hopefully you don't see it if the video is not on. Another quote that I found very interesting is that online, the current situation will create a resurgence of magic in real life experience. And that is something that is there to remind us that sometimes we need a bit of a crisis, a bit of help to appreciate what we've always been taking for granted. So it was just given that we could meet people and network like the good old days. And suddenly when that disappears, you start missing it. Because then you realize, oh, I really did not take full advantage when it was available because I was a bit tired, I didn't go to that event, or it was a bit too far, or it was raining. And now you realize that the value that you've missed because this is not available anymore. So maybe COVID is a good reminder that to help us to appreciate things that we used to take for granted. Finally, I believe the future will be likely not a total replacement for one solution or another, but with the advance of the technology and yes, the obvious advantages of convenience that virtual meetings offer, the future will probably be a blend of virtual and physical. That not only in networking, I think in education it's going to be the same, and many other fields as well. Now, before I end, I would like to just go through a few practical tips with you about networking and those who work online and offline. When you go into a networking event, if it's a physical room or a virtual room, like it or not, during the first very few seconds, you will create a first impression. People will look at you and they will make themselves an impression about you. Good, bad, neutral. What is important in networking is that you create or you leave an impression that you are approachable. If you enter the room with an open face, looking for eye contact, you smile, chances are that people will come and talk to you. It's going to be quite easy to talk to people and engage with people. If on the other side you come with your nose on your iPhone and with a moody face and looking at the floor, chances are that you're going to leave alone for the rest of the evening as well. And the same applies to online, probably even more important online, because you need to keep the engagement high at the other side. So first impression, very important. Second, elevator speech. What is an elevator speech? It's a very short statement, concise statement, maximum 50 words, describing who you are, what you do, and the unique value that your product or service brings to the marketplace. It's a teaser. So my name is Luc de Waegh. I was born and raised in Belgium. I've been working in Myanmar 27 years, since 1993. The main reason I stay in Myanmar is the people. In complement to my advisory work in M&A, I have developed a consultancy providing solutions to attract, retain, develop people. Right. 50 words, 25 seconds. That's all you need. But in these 50 words and 25 seconds, you have at least 4 reasons to start a conversation. Oh, you were born in Belgium. My wife was born in Belgium. You've stayed 27 years in Myanmar. What have you done 27 years in Myanmar? You mentioned that the reason you stay is the people. Can you elaborate on that? Oh, I have huge retention plumber in my company. You say that you provide solutions for retention, and then it goes on. So 50 words, 25 seconds, who you are, what you do, what is unique value that you bring to the marketplace. Other tips about the attention getters. One very important one, remember people's name. You read it on their tag, you read it on the business card, you can read it on the screen, and in the conversation, drop their name from time to time. It just makes a huge difference. If I say, hi, or hi, John, it doesn't have the same impact. It's very different. So remember that the sweetest sound for anybody is to hear his own name by anybody, right? Compliment. Try to make a compliment that comes out of the ordinary. So if you see Mike and you say, hi, Mike, you look great today, this is not out of the ordinary. And it might not even be genuine because maybe Mike is not feeling well that day. But if you see Mike and you say something like, oh, Mike, I like your tie. I had exactly the same at home. Luckily, we didn't put the same today. I didn't put the same today. Or, Mike, your voice reminds me exactly. You have the same voice as my best friend. Something that he will remember, that Mike will remember. Because in the end of the game of networking, you want the people to leave the room virtual or online, virtual or in person, remembering you, right? And if you say the compliment that somebody has heard 50 times already, he will not remember you. And the third one that I would suggest is ask a question that requires some thoughts to answer. The principle is the same. You want people to remember you, so you ask them or you engage them in a way that is not common, is not totally unusual or done before. Right. So if you have the question, hi, John, how did you come here? Or by taxi? Oh, me too. That's the end of the conversation. Right? But if you ask, hi, John, what has been the impact of COVID-19 on your staff? Have you retained everybody? Have you kept the salaries high? Have you retrenched? Have you hired more people? That can trigger a real conversation right after. Another point is smile. That works all the time. If you smile, people smile back at you. It's magic until you try. And the last one is listen. Networking is about active listening. You repeat what people have just told you. That shows that you pay attention to what they've told you, that you pay attention to them. People like that and will remember you better. You try to listen more than you talk. That is the rule of thumb. Try to listen more than you talk. And after that, I've been speaking enough, talking enough. I will stop here and I will thank you for your attention.